For a long time, but especially in the past 6+ years, we have all been consumed by the bitter divisions in America. But what about issues that actually unite us? The New York Times recently sat down with both Trump and Biden supporters and found that there was more they agreed on than you'd imagine. Here's Rick Smith with more.
Wanted to start off today with an email from Mark in Cedar Rapids, who reminded me that we met in Cedar Rapids back during our Working Class Heroes tour and wanted my opinion on a New York Times opinion piece that he asked if I wrote. Now, my name is not on it, but he said, look, the reality is everything that you talked about while you were here in Iowa and as I listened along the tour was exactly what they're saying in this opinion piece several months later. And look, I like to believe that the New York Times spends all of their time listening to the little program here, and happy to share my ideas, happy to share my beliefs, my ideology, all of that stuff with them, because clearly they generally are not all that concerned with working class people. So if in some small way they picked up on this from our tour, from 18 years of doing this, good. It needs to happen. It needs to be done. And what I'm talking about is there was an opinion piece over on the opinion page at the New York Times. And the title was One Thing That United These 12 Biden and Trump Supporters. And the one thing is, as I've been saying from the very beginning, the one thing is the fact that in order to reunite and revive our economy, reunite the country, revive the economy, we need to reunionize. We need to organize workplaces. We need to reclaim the lunchroom. We need to have that commonality that brings us together. And what's that? Better wages, hours, conditions. We want to be able to support our families. We want to be able to take care of our families. We want to make sure that we go home safe. Those are the things that can unite us. Been saying that for all 18 years of doing this. And shocker of shockers, when the New York Times actually gets out of their ivory tower and goes out and grabs a couple of people and asks them a couple of questions, guess what they come up with? Exactly what we've been saying. That across political ideology, across voter registration, nuts to bolts, people believe that they should have better wages, hours, conditions, and are willing to fight for them. Now, I do find some of the answers that they gave around their union membership to be in line with some ideological bends of, hey, I'm an individual. I don't really need that collective action, but I'll take it because it works. A lot of complaining because we're a complainer society. But it was interesting, when they started asking questions about solidarity, they started asking, what it means to them, what working class means. It's a lot of what we've been saying. Now, you go back through our Working Class Heroes tour, and we went to a lot of places that are struggling. We went and we chose those places on purpose to try and come to this. Because it's always been my thesis that, you give people a decent wage, you give them a good job, give them a future, all the other stuff will come around. So they grab 12 people, all over the political map, and they bring them together and they talk about the working class things that we wanted to talk about back in October and in November up till the election. They're within the realm of reality. They're between the curbs, if you will. They're not standing on the sidewalks, shouting and throwing at each other. And it's my belief and my hope. It's my great hope that we come back to talking to each other. We come back to together around the water cooler, at the lunchroom, because that's how things get solved. And the more polarized we are, the more that we put on our red hats or our blue hats, and the more we divide ourselves up into teams where my team has to win and your team has to lose, nothing gets done. But this little article that they came out with says, yeah, we're politically polarized. When you talked about working class issues, there was consensus.